What's up again, everybody? This is the third and final round of the Batman Release Rainbow Draft that we held at our local game store. We roll off in this third and final round, and I elect to go first because I won the roll off, which means I'm putting one of my dice in spent and rolling 3. I'm going to pick up a Firefly with that. I elect to go first here because my opponent actually has a pretty interesting team that basically puts you on a clock. At least what it seems to do is try to put you on a clock, basically kill you in some number of turns. This is James. He and I play a lot in these drafts. He and I end up actually playing these round 3s a lot in this third slot. He's got 2 sidekicks and a fist and a shield. He's going to probably want to reroll those 2 sidekicks because he's looking to pick up something like either a Mr. Miracle, that super rare Mr. Miracle that he has there, or the Monument to Evil. And we'll take a look at his team here after he finishes his first turn. Looks like he's going to pick up a Monument to Evil on that turn number 1. So taking a look at his team, he's got Hawk Girl, 2 cost. He's got the Mr. Miracle, the 3 cost super rare. He was the only person to pull a super rare in this draft portion. This is the one that gives your action dice boomerang, and that's going to come into play here in just a moment. He's got 4 cost Red Hood. This is the one that when he attacks, deal damage to your opposing character die, one of those opposing character dice for each other attacking die, so he can KO something before blockers are assigned. He's got a just a question there, the common question that has Gadgeteer. He's got the same Huntress as me, Parademon, a common Parademon. He's got Batwoman, that actually is really great because it's the unblockable kind, I believe. Oh no, this is a little bit different one. And I kind of messed up. I didn't actually get his last card, but he doesn't buy it during the game. I went through and looked while I was trying to make this graphic. Does not pick it up, so it doesn't look like it makes any difference on what that last card was. I do apologize, though, that I did not find that last card so that I could tell you his full team. Now, he has that super rare card that I mentioned before, and he's going to use that combo. He's going to combo that with Monument to Evil here, which deals 2 damage to your target opponent. Which is really, really cool because his goal here is to just use Mr. Miracle's boomerang effect to just keep rolling the 2 damage to your target opponent, use it and then move it back to prep, use it next turn, move it back to prep, basically putting you on a clock the entire time. Now there is a little drawback to that in the double burst phase there. If you don't have any villains on the field and you roll the double burst phase, then it actually just does nothing. Because it says instead. So if he rolls that one side, then it kind of messes him up. Back to my next turn, I'm actually paying 3 to pick up a Huntress, and then I'm using the Villainous Pact Global to put all of the dice that I've purchased previously and up to that point, including Huntress, in the bag and pulling one, and I actually pull a Huntress, which is really, really good. James here is rolling his dice on his turn too. He's got a Sidekick and 3 energy. This would be a great time to pick up a Mr. Miracle, and feel the Sidekick is just fine. If he wants to reroll that Sidekick and pick up a Mask, actually he has to pick up a Mask because it doesn't look like he had the ability to purchase a Mr. Miracle without a Mask, obviously. That would be against the rules. So now he can't do exactly that, pick up a Mr. Miracle for 3, feel the Sidekick, and that completes his turn. Probably would have been better if he had had 1 more energy and then he could have done exactly what I did last turn and prep a die using Villainous Pact. But he didn't, which is good for me. So I roll up a Firefly, which is also good for me, and I'm going to re-roll this Huntress to see if I can get it to land. It does land, so here's a question. Do I want to put the Huntress down and KO his Sidekick and then deal 2 with Firefly, or do I want to put Firefly down, deal 1 to him, then field Huntress and KO my own Firefly to roll it next turn? Let's see what I end up doing. I'm going to prep a die first, which signals to me I'm probably going to play that Firefly first and then KO it and cycle it. Going to pay the 1 to field. Yep, it looks like that's the play. That's going to deal 1 to my opponent, popping him down to 19. And then I'm going to pay another 1, and that's going to pop that Huntress down, KO my own little dude, and pop that over to prep, allowing me to roll it next turn. The beauty of this combo, it seems to me, is the fact that you just don't need to buy much to do it. You don't need too terribly many pieces, too terribly many bolt characters. It just makes the play and the decisions so much easier when you don't have to buy all of these pieces in whatever order. You really only need like 4 dice purchasing. and just cycling, right? That's all you really need. Which makes for a really, really powerful team and a consistent combo. My opponent is running the collector's box dice, which kind of makes it hard to see if he has sidekicks or if he's, rolling that monument to evil die, which is that same shade. He's got 4 energy of various types, 2 fists, 1 question mark, and 1 mask. This would be a good time for him to pick up a 3-cost character, cycle it up. Or he could pick up a monument to evil, which would probably be better, actually. Picking up a monument to evil and trying to get that clock going even more quickly. I have a feeling that, thinking about it, you've got a what? You've got a 2 and 6, so a 1 and 3 chance of rolling the non-double burst action face, thereby dealing me 2 damage and then boomeranging it. So that's not a terribly bad probability of getting that fairly consistently. 33%. It's not bad. Here I roll my... I've got a sidekick there, by the way. Here I roll my Firefly. Going to pay and field that. That's 2 characters. That deals 2 damage. Dropping him to 17. His 4-cost purchase of that Red Hood is not a terribly bad idea. In the sense that I think the best way to beat the team that I'm running is to just punch it, right? Just punch your opponent in the face as many times as possible, as quickly as possible. You just have to race this team, because my goal is to get my sidekicks out of the bag, get things on the field, and just cycle 1 die, right? Just move 1 die around. So I need to be forced to be blocking with those characters rather than just allowed to sit back. Because if I'm blocking, yes, I'm getting that stuff cycled and fielded, but I'm not necessarily, always going to land those character faces every time I roll it. Though up till this point I have. So he rolls as Mr. Miracle. He picks up a question and passes over to me. He's got 2 sidekicks and that Mr. Miracle. Unfortunately for him, Mr. Miracle just doesn't have the attack and defensive power to be able to put on pressure. Rolling here my 4 dice, I've got 1 sidekick and 3 energy. I kind of do want to pick up another Firefly. Actually, I did pick up another Firefly, excuse me. I want to pick up another Huntress, or I want to spend 2 and use Hawk Girl, or spend 2 by Hawk Girl and use a Villainous Pact. I think Huntress is better, and that's what I choose to go with. So picking up a Huntress and not really needing to attack. Attacks really wouldn't do anything here outside of cycling a Firefly. That's probably about all it would do. He pulls his Monument to Evil out of the bag. Let's see how that decides to roll. The current face that it's on is absolutely the worst face because it does nothing for you. 2 generic comes up. Actually, I think he missed everything there. He's got a 2 mask on it. Oh, no, he's got a question. So at least he has some board presence. He's going to reroll. The double burst comes up. He doesn't have any villains on his side. That's not going to do any good for him. He can use it for no effect. I mean, you play it out there and deal 0 damage. I would imagine is totally legal, and I think that's what he's going to do here, because he still gets the boomerang effect after using it. What's he going to do with the rest of his energy? Obviously, he's going to field that question. Paying the 1, he's got 2 masks, which means he can just pick up another question if he wants to do that. So he uses the boomerang, or uses the action dies effect, then boomerangs it over to his prep area, giving him the opportunity to roll it. So there, the 33%er did not land. And the question becomes, do you want to use your 2 energy to purchase something or keep your bag low? Probably purchasing better here, because again, I think you just need to put on some sort of pressure. So passing over to me, not attacking at all. I'm going to pull and then subsequently roll my Firefly immediately, which is great luck for me. Got a sidekick and my Firefly. I can't tell if that's the 3 side, meaning I have to pay all that energy for it. It would be great if it weren't. And I had a mask, but it doesn't look like I have a mask. It looks like I have just a shield and a bolt, so I'm going to re-roll. Got a fist and a mask. Hey, look at that. Going to field the sidekick, deal 3. 1, 2, 3. Popping him down to 14. Going to use the mask to Villainous Pact a die over to prep. Then I'm going to field one of my sidekicks and just say go. No need to attack yet again. This is just more of the same. Very control-y, very sitting back and just burning you out. Make you come to me. So rolling again. He's got that 2 generic again, not landing the action face on Monument to Evil. He's got 4. Look at that. He's got 4 masks. That is crazy. That's a 1 in 6 4 times. Times 4. That is... Oh, and he gets the double burst. My goodness. That is extremely unfortunate for him. So he's just going to pay the 4 masks and use the thing for no effect. It comes back. And that's the same face that he needed. He's landed that same actual damage face both sides, because that is not the double burst. So starting my turn, I've got Huntress ready to go, and I've got 4 other dice along with that. Actually bump the Huntress. Don't remember what the side it was on, but we get it resolved back to the original side. Gonna re-roll that Huntress because it came up the 1 bolt. I don't need a fist at all. I mean, I've got the 1 fist global that I brought, you know, in case of emergency. I could use it there, but no need. Gonna re-roll that. Look for a sidekick, perhaps. I've got 3 energy. I almost bumped the Huntress again. That's amazing. Huntress does not come up for me. I've got a lot of energy to play with here. Starting with Villainous Pact, I think is the best way to go. And then I've got 5 energy to distribute as I see fit. Options here include any of those 5 drops that I have, Two-Face and Mr. Freeze. I could also go Harley Quinn or the Riddler. I think the Riddler is probably the best cost, the best bang for your buck here. Because you have the ability to flip it to a 6-3 if you get on that 3-face. It can deal 6 damage or 5 damage. I think it's like a 4-1, a 5-1, and a 6-1 when you flip, or a 6-3 when you flip, which is very good. Pushing to attack here. Let's see what we see. Pushing to attack with Huntress and 2 Fireflies. Now, the goal with this, for me, it looks like, is to cycle any of my dice. Any and all. Even into the used is fine, because I have such a small bag. So he's just going to block to allow all of my stuff to stay. This does allow him to re-roll 2 sidekicks, or roll 2 extra sidekicks, 2 sidekick dice this turn. But I'm not too worried about that. Again, he only has the 1 Monument to Evil. So that clock is really not ticking as of yet, and he's been very unlucky with his rolls. And again, he gets a 2 generic. Really unlucky. I've had some good luck in this draft so far, in this tournament, with my rolls and my opponent's rolls. 2 generic again. That's unfortunate, because this is a really cool combo and a really cool team. Wonder if there was another die he could be using, maybe Magic Missile. That would be just more consistent, because this just gets in the way a little bit. When you only have a 2 and 6 versus a 50% chance is always so much more consistent, and that's, I guess, goes without saying. He's got absolutely all of the energy in the world. He could buy anything he wants now, though. He's got a sidekick to field. But really, he's just in a kind of a bad spot. If I were him, I'd probably try to pick up as many Monuments to Evil as I could. A Parademon he picks up. And fields a sidekick, floats a shield energy. Gonna reroll that Monument to Evil because he used it, I think. Not sure. Either way, he lands the face that needs does the damage on the time when he actually doesn't need it. or when it doesn't do damage. Really unfortunate. Moving on to my next turn, we've got Riddler and Huntress popping out. So this is just an embarrassment of riches on my side. I've been able to roll pretty decently this entire game. Huntress comes out. That'll allow me to KO one of my Fireflies. Gonna re-roll the Riddler. He just stays on a 1-bolt face. See, we're gonna pop down the Huntress, KO the smallest of the Fireflies. Ooh, yeah. I realized at that moment I realized I did things out of order. If I wanted to prep a die, I would have had to have done that first. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna have to pay just 4 and pick up something else, like another Riddler. The other option there was to, before fielding Huntress and KOing Firefly, prep a die with Villainous Pact, buy a, like a Red Hood or something, with the remaining 3, and then KO my own Firefly. He's gonna chump block in such a way that he doesn't have to worry. He's actually gonna KO the Huntress. Huntress is then going to also KO. Oh no, it's just gonna send back the question, and that shield energy that he was floating from last turn is going to burn because there's nothing he can use it on. He's got a ton of dice here. He picked up a what is that? A Hawk Girl at some point. I missed that. He's also got his 2 Red Hoods, which deal some pretty significant damage when they attack. But unfortunately, they're both on double energy faces. Oh my gosh. And they just come back on energy faces. Man, this is just one of those situations where all the rolls are going wrong. Every bit. I've been in that situation a fair amount of times, and it just does not feel good because you've got this team, right? You've got this combo that you know how it's supposed to work. I mean, you've won 2 games at this point. You're 2-0. You're playing for, the maximum amount of booster packs plus whatever promos that are being, passed out, and the rolls just dry up completely, and you're sitting there going, well, what do I do, It's an unfortunate side of this game. One that I don't think happens as often as you can kind of experience in games with like draw decks, those sorts of things. Draw RNG is, like 1 in 30 or 1 in 60 is way harder to get to than, way harder to surmount than like a 1 in 8 or, missing a 1 in 6, that sort of thing. Your probabilities are inherently higher in a game with, 6 possibilities on a die rather than, well, I have 2 cards in a deck of 60. All right, so we're going to field this Riddler, then I'm going to field the Huntress. And the question here is to just KO one of his dice and then push for lethal. I don't know if I have lethal on board, but I'm going to deal 5 with that Firefly. Camera's freaking out there for a second. Look at that. Yeah, gonna field that Firefly. Deal 5 to him. That puts him down to, 9? So I should have lethal here. And really just push with everything should do it. That's more than enough damage for 9, even if he blocks the 2 top. And assuming that the 2 highest are the Riddler when he flips his attack and one of the Fireflies at 4, everything else should go through and deal exact. Oh, I only push with that and leave the sidekicks. I wonder, I must not have counted. This is, I think this is a pretty big misplay on my side. Not counting to see if he blocks the 2 highest, what amount of damage would go through. Oh, look at, and counting that up, it looks like he would be sitting at, he is sitting at exactly 1 if he blocks correctly. Blocking the 2 highest, sitting at exactly 1. So if I would have pushed with 1 extra sidekick, I would have had lethal exactly right here. So I explained the rule of why the Riddler is a 6/3, because of his card ability stating that he can flip his attack and defense when he attacks. So he blocks the 2 highest. We count up the damage, and I mean, I'm extremely far ahead at this point. So putting him at 1 is, it's a super safe play, but it's a misplay because that was lethal right there. So huge misplay on my end. Kind of a really dumb oversight too. You take a second to just count it, it just makes more sense. I have 3 sidekicks though. One of these has to go, or one of these can go through and kill him if he doesn't roll 3 character faces on whatever he draws. He's got 3 characters though sitting in prep. That's a fairly easy thing to do, especially if you try to get a sidekick when you're rolling all of this. So he rolls 2 characters. I wonder if he scoops he should just scoop everything and I guess keep the required amount of energy to field both of those, but then scoop whatever else you can. No, you got to pick up those sidekicks. And that's going to be game, because if that character doesn't come up, which is a 50-50, right? But if you scoop and land a sidekick, then you're golden still. You're still alive, even though I do have a Firefly sitting in prep, ready to roll. But at this point, I mean, you can field those, but you know you're dead in the water unless there's some way you remove a sidekick. So we just shake it out because we know that's the game. Once it passes over to my turn, all I have to do is push with those 3. Plus, I had a Riddler and a Riddler on the way in the prep area, and a Firefly. Yeah, it was pretty insurmountable. That was really unfortunate rolls for him, but I think obviously it was good rolls on my end as well. But this team is just so good, and I think Firefly and Huntress going along with him work so well together that if you are playing a Rainbow Draft in this Batman set, if you're doing a Batman Rainbow Draft and you can find either of these pieces early, I think you go go for broke and try to put something together around these two, because they are just too powerful. There's not a lot that beats them. Really, it's just racing them or unblockable damage that does it. So find something that's unblockable, kind of like Batwoman, that sort of thing. But other than that, it's just, this is a powerful, powerful combo. So I hope you guys enjoyed these videos, and as always, thanks for watching.